What's up, everybody? This is Round by Round with Derek and Daniel, and today we're gonna discuss a little bit about how to set up your volume work on the new Iron Rooster method that I'm coming out with here. And the way I want to kick this off is just explain a little bit what volume work is. Okay, so what I categorize as volume work is anything calisthenics wise, all right, or anything that you could add reps to, all right, and pretty much everything for the upper body and the abdominals. It's gonna be body weight stuff. All your pull-ups, your push-ups, your dips, inverted rows, your handstand work, your front level work, your muscle ups, all that shit. And we're gonna explain a little bit how to organize that, how to progress on it, progressively overload on it. And with progressive overload comes results. You know what I mean? It's impossible to separate the two. So we're gonna break that down a little bit. For lower body, that's where it gets a little bit different, and I might break that off into its own video. We'll see, or into its own show anyway. But yeah, so how the volume works. All right, what we like to do is I like to keep 10 sets across the board. All right, it's always gonna be 10 sets. All right, because after 10, you're going into a catabolic state. Now your body's just trying to survive that shit. It's not really gonna reap any more benefits past 10 sets. All right, so you're going 10 sets, and what you're doing is you're doing giant sets or circuits, whatever you like to call it. Giant sets, circuit, whatever you want to call it. But I like to group 4 exercises. All right, one for the lower body, one for the push, one for the pull, and one for your abdominals. Okay. So it's pretty self-explanatory when it comes to push and pull. Push, hey, it's a push-up or a dip, or some handstand work. Your pull, hey, pull-ups or inverted rows, front levers, muscle-ups, things of that nature. Your abdominals, I like to stick with rollouts, standing rollouts, any kind of rollout variation.
Or foot raises.
Leg raises, yeah,
Yeah, leg raises.
from the bar, and you can even do them from the ground.
That would work on your lower abdominal muscles, and then the rollouts would be your upper mid abdominal muscles, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're all like specifically they
Targeting one spot of your
yeah,
abdominal.
they both of them hit everything, but they hit like your leg raise. You're gonna hit the bottom ones harder, but it hits everything, but it's gonna hit the bottom harder. Rollouts are gonna hit everything, but it's gonna hit the top harder. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, a rollout's like a plank, but now you could do it in reps. You know what I mean? You're not just holding it for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. It's a rollout. It's a little bit more challenging. It's more dynamic,
Yeah,
and you can
yep.
count reps for it. And then I also like to do just your average sit-ups on a what are they called? The GHD machines, glute ham raise machines.
Yeah,
Yeah, do sit-ups on that. Um, and then we got dragon flags. I don't know if anybody knows what a dragon flag is.
is that to work on your side?
No, actually Bruce Lee made them famous. They're in the Rocky movie too. They're in Rocky 4. They're really hard, man. It's more of a static movement. It can be dynamic, but it's fucking challenging, dude. Really good for your abdominals. It's really good for your abdominals. You're thinking of the human flag, right? Where it's like,
No, I thought of that too, but that would be more of a static, right? Wouldn't that be considered static exercise?
yeah, it's more static. You can design it in such a way where it's a little bit more dynamic, but the
But
human
that's for
flags.
like elite, right? You would
Well, depending on how you use it.
being able to flagpole.
Yeah, human flag.
Yeah.
Well, you can actually scale that down. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know, but I mean, you can scale anything down when it comes to calisthenics. So instead of doing the straight human flag,
You would
do
tuck
it.
your knees in.
Well, not only that, before you even do that, you could put your feet on a bench and just hold a pole. And now it's like you're doing a side plank, but your feet are elevated. And now you could take one of your foot off, one of your feet off, and then you take your other foot off. And there you go. Now you're starting to get it. Tuck your knees and everything. There's a progression in it. Like you could go on YouTube and you can look up progression how to human flag. That's another great, um,
Core.
yeah, great core variation. But those are my core variations. Like I said, the push-ups and pull-ups and all its variations and all its encompasses, that's for your push and pull. Now your legs, that's where it gets a little bit different. All right, because a lot of calisthenics athletes, they do a lot of jumps and a lot of sprints for their legs, which is fine, and I prescribe that. Especially if you don't have any equipment or you're just starting off, it's gonna be suffice. But if you're serious about your training, if you're a serious training, if you're a real student of the game and you want to take your lower body training to the next level, because we all know, dude, all that power from your punches to your kicks, even to some of your groundwork, your grappling work, anything you fucking do athletic, dude, all that power comes from the ground, dude. You have strong legs, you're a strong individual. You know what I mean? If someone has a strong squat and then another person has a strong bench, that person that has a strong squat is fucking stronger. Period. Because everything comes from the ground. You know what I mean? Everything athletic you do, it comes from the ground. Changing direction, throwing a punch, throwing a kick, slamming somebody. All that power and all that force is generated from the ground. So you want strong legs, you know what I mean? Calisthenics have you covered from the waist up, you know? And some of the calisthenics I would do for people that are working their lower body and wanting to work full body on calisthenics, start them off with burpees. Those will will break you off pretty quick. You know what I mean? But not just any kind of burpees. I would want someone who's training calisthenics to train the jumping portion of that burpee. So whether a broad jump burpee, whether a vertical jump on a box burpee, anything that's gonna hit the legs. Lateral jumps, um, just something that's gonna get you jumping very far or very high. Uh, but it's added there's a burpee element added into it. That's how someone starting off calisthenics or someone who's starting off full body training in calisthenics, that's what you're going to aim for. Burpees with the jumping portion being, how would you say it? Emphasized.
Emphasized.
Yeah, emphasized. You're going to emphasize the jump portion of the burpee to train your legs, you know what I mean? To train your hips to move explosively but once you get more serious in your training in the burpees, because you'll get much, you know what I mean? Now you're just you know, breaking yourself off, and you're only getting so much from those burpees. If you want to take it to the next level, I say the first thing you would do is just order some bands.
Resistance bands.
Yeah, order some resistance bands, and you can step inside of those, put it around your neck, and you could do good mornings. And that's gonna stimulate the posterior chain. It's not gonna do anything like a deadlift or squat would do for you, but when it comes to volume, really all it's about is blood flow and getting the muscle used to working over and over again. You know what I mean? So those banded good mornings, the banded squats, air squats, but with bands, it's allowing some type of resistance for you. You know what I mean? It's getting your foot in the door. It's getting your legs used to pushing against some type of resistance. Because body weight is never, ever, ever, ever going to be enough when it comes to lower body. Calisthenics will never be enough when it comes to lower body. I don't care what anybody says. We're fucking done. It's not enough. You need resistance. You need weights when it comes to your lower body. But when we're talking about volume, we're not going to want to do volume deadlifts unless you're trying to fuck yourself off. That's the quickest way to get hurt. You don't do volume deadlifts. That's intensity. That's another topic. Even heavy squats, you're not going to do, your regular.
You're not gonna do a lot of reps with
Yeah,
it.
you're not going to do a lot of reps with squats, man. Save that for the intensity. Save that for an intensity. That's a whole nother topic. When it comes to volume, what you want to do is you want to start off with your burpees, emphasizing the jump. All right. Then you want to move on to your bands. Good mornings, banded jump squats, things like that. And then once that's like kind of like, all right, the reps are getting out of control. Now I'm doing, 150, 200 reps a session. Then it's just, all right, now it's just becoming conditioning at this point, which is going to happen with the burpees real quick, which is going to happen with the bands real quick. Then I would say move on to some sandbag complexes, sandbag training. You could get a 100-pound sandbag, and it's fairly cheap too. You know what I mean? You buy the fucking play sand. It's a couple of dollars for like 30, 40 pounds, and you buy the shell. You can get them at any online fitness store you could think of. Rogue, Titan. Uh, I mean, those are the two that I can think of at the point. Titan, a little bit cheaper version, but it gets the job done. Rogue is, that's your expensive shit, But you could get these sandbags, right? Get them 100 pounds, 150 pounds, 200 pounds. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're gonna be feeling this. All right, so you get that sandbag and you hug it in tight to your chest. Now you're working your upper back. Now you're working your guard. You're working your clinch because you're hugging that heavy ass sandbag. And what are you doing? You're doing walking lunges. You're doing squats. You're doing good mornings. You're grabbing the sandbag, picking the sandbag up off the floor. Which, if you pick up anything off the floor, is working your posterior chain automatically, which calisthenics doesn't do. So you're picking something, an odd object off the floor, throwing it over your shoulder. Hey, that's posterior chain. So now you're working your posterior chain. All right. You're doing all these different movements with the sandbag. Like I said, walking lunges, jump squats, good mornings, over shoulder throws. You're even doing sandbag carries. You could either do any of those by themselves for reps, or you could do a small complex in place of your leg training for your volume training. All right. So you would do that sandbag work, and then you would do your calisthenics. That's gonna cover your entire fucking body, head to toe, and that's how you get great muscular endurance, which we all know is important. Okay, because if you take a guy who has a 200 pound sandbag, and he's doing walking lunges for 20 reps for 10 sets, that's 200 reps with a 200-pound sandbag. He's gonna squat more than a guy who can't do that. Okay, and that's what people need to understand. Get your GPP and get your calisthenics and get your muscle endurance up before you start seriously going into weight training.
So that'd fall in the category for volume still?
Your volume, yeah. GPP calisthenics is volume.
So in order to get your volume right, that would work on your intensity as far as weights.
Well, when your volume is good, when you work on your volume and you have a high level, a high threshold of muscular endurance, and you've been working on your volume shit, everything I've discussed, the weights you're gonna plateau way later in the game. So someone who doesn't have any type of volume based build, all right, they'll probably plateau on a squat around 250. Someone who does have that type of volume built, and they're doing, reps and reps of a 150-pound sandbag, 200-pound sandbag, and they're doing fucking squats with it. You're doing 150 squats with a 200 or 150-pound sandbag. You're not going to have trouble doing it with a barbell. I fucking promise you. You're not going to have trouble squatting a 150-pound, a 200-pound barbell. You're not. We're fucking done. You're not going to have problems with it, all right? You'll tap out your linear gains on your weights and your intensity days. That's going to tap out way, way later on because now your base is built without weights. You have a base built without weights. So now when you go to weights and it's something new and stimulating, you're going to take it a lot fucking further than someone who doesn't have that base built from the volume work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like back to what else you could do. So now, yeah, you have the sandbags, and I'll tell you what, man, most people can live on those sandbags, man. You could always get a heavier sandbag and push yourself. You know what I mean? You could go by 50-pound increments, you know what I mean? And you could really push yourself on the sandbags. But if you wanted to go a different route, if you wanted to try something else, if you wanted to add it up or spice it up and mix it up, you could go get some pieces of pipe and make a T-handle. All right? You just look that up, how to make a T-handle for T-handle swings. It's like a kettlebell. It's like an adjustable kettlebell. I mean, that's going to take a little bit more of an investment. You're going to have to buy some 25-pound standard weight plates, and then you rack the weight up like that. 25-pound increments. You do, you know what I mean, 25-pound swings, and then you do 50-pound swings, and you do 75, you do 100, 125, 150, all the way up to 200. You're swinging a 200-pound kettlebell for 10 reps, 10 sets, 100 swings with 200 pounds. You're going to have a fucking strong posterior chain. I don't give a fuck. We're fucking done discussing it. You're going to have a very good base build. So when you do go start hitting deadlifts, you're going to hit that magic 500 number a lot fucking quicker than your counterpart. I promise you. You know what I mean? Yes,
and you said has to do with kettlebell swings. Like if I invest in like something similar to a kettlebell swing,
yeah,
and I would just throw that over my body. Or
well, yeah, you would add in just kettlebell swings. And like kettlebells, like they're great. You could do a lot of things with kettlebells, but man, they're fucking expensive, man. I say the cheaper alternative is to make a fucking T-handle. Because the most bang for your buck you're gonna get with that Tino is the fucking swing. You could even put bands on that bitch and make it harder. You know what I mean? You could have 100 pounds of weight and about 40, 60 pounds of band, and you're swinging it. It's going to fucking fry your glutes and hamstrings and the lower back. And those are things that the lower body weight calisthenics can't work that. So now you're getting good stimulation in your posterior chain from T handle swings, heavy T handle swings, for volume, and then you're getting good stimulation on the rest of your upper body with pull-ups and push-ups and abdominal movements, that we discussed earlier. So the T handle, man, you can't go wrong with that, man. That should be every calisthenics athlete should be going hard on the fucking T handle, in my opinion. Because if you just want to make it simple and you don't mind doing the same exercises all the fucking time, T handle is the way to go. Sandbag, it's a little bit more dynamic. It's a little bit more, you could mix it up, and it's great. It works more than T handle works.
So like getting a heavy bag or something, slamming it over your head.
Uh, Not necessarily slamming, just picking it up off the ground, doing lunges with it, doing squats with it, something that works the lower body. The slams, that's more, you're looking more along the lines of dynamic work, which is not, shouldn't be where the volume's at. It can be, what I mean? We do have jump squats, we do have plyometric type push ups, we do have plyometric type inverted rows, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for heavy sandbag work done for reps. Something that's gonna pretty much burn the legs. It's gonna get that lactic threshold up in them legs. You know what I mean? It'll help your running. It'll help your punches. You'll see it, man. You'll even put a little bit of mass on your legs. And for people who don't want that, well, just control the calories. You know what I mean? You won't put on mass if you're not eating. So, people who want to say, oh, I need to stay in this weight class, whatever. Hey, man, do it for the neurological adaptation. Don't do it for the necessarily size adaptation. You know what I mean? That's all calories. That's all in the kitchen anyway. You know what I mean? If you eat and you do that, yeah, your legs are gonna get big. So, but yeah, the T handle. Now for the guys who have access to this equipment, this is like the next level. You know what I mean? Now you done all these T handle swings. You've done all this work with sandbags. You've done a fuck ton of burpees, which I think everybody should start off with fucking burpees because that
Yeah,
gets
because
get
that
your
you don't
mind
even
right.
need any
You
weights for
don't
that.
need. There's no fucking excuses. You could always do a burpee. You know what I mean? There's no fucking excuse you can't do burpees. All right, so. You've done your fucking burpees, you've done your band work, your good mornings, your squats with bands, you've done your sandbag work, you've done your T handle work. Now, if you had that kind of money and if you were really about that life, or if you really went to a nice gym like that and it had a belt squat machine and or a reverse hyper machine or a hyper extension, you know what I mean? Like the glute ham development, that's like a GHD or something, one of those machines, and you did back extensions or reverse hyper extensions or belt squats, and again for volume, I wouldn't go above 10. I would do 10 by 10. But let's say you go 10 by 10 with that stuff. Hey man, that's gonna work some great leg development, and that right there, man, that's the squat pattern to the fullest right there with a belt squat. Now you're opening up the hips, you're decompressing your spine. That's for someone who's a serious lifter, in my opinion. If you're squatting over 400 pounds, I say get your ass in a belt squat machine, man, because then now it's helping with your recovery from your intensity days. But if you're just starting off, you don't have recovery issues. You're not fucking strong, so your spine isn't compressed because you're not. If you're putting 200 pounds on your spine, if you're putting 300 pounds on your spine, it's not fucking compressed. Okay, a young healthy male can handle that shit, no problem. But once you start getting into the 400 pounds plus, putting that on your back, squatting it down below parallel, yeah, now you're starting to have fucking some recovery issues, and that's where the belt squat can come into a big play. And someone who's at that serious level of squatting that much over anyone who's squatting over 4 plates, they're fucking serious. And I say, man, look for a belt squat machine, or if not, reverse hypers, or even just regular back extensions with some plates or something. But yeah, man, that's all right there. All those are all lower body, what I just explained. All right, we explained the abdominals earlier in the video, and everybody with a brain knows, hey man, push-ups and pull-ups, all the variations, they go into that. That video right there would take a fucking hour explaining all the variations to that shit. So, you got your plyometric push-ups, you got your your fucking, your single arm push-ups. You got your standard push-ups. Anything you could think of, man. Push-ups on rings, dips on bars, pull-ups on rings, muscle-ups, front levers, just all kinds of shit, man. Climbing rope, doing front levers, skin to cat, all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? But all this right here is volume. And to get back to it, how you're gonna set up that volume is you're gonna do 10 sets and you're gonna do 4 exercises. All right, and you're gonna pick a rep range. So let's do it this way. All right, let's say I pick the burpee. All right, 10 burpees. Then I say I pick the pull up, 10 pull ups. Say I pick the push up, 20 push ups. Let's say I pick a leg raise, 20 leg raises. Right? What is that? It's gonna be 60 total reps. Right? That's one. Now you're doing it for 10. That's 600 reps. Now that right there is fucking volume. Because you can decrease that for the people who need it decreased, and you can increase that for the people who, oh, this shit's easy. Well, increase the fucking reps. See how easy it is then. You will never outgrow the 10 sets, 4 exercises. You know what I mean? 4 exercises, all the way through 10 times. You'll never outgrow it. You know what I mean? Because you could always increase the volume. You could always decrease the volume. You play with it. You know your body. You know what you need. Yep. And for you coaches out there, you can figure out your athletes and know what they need. Put them on the right volume. You should always be trying to increase that volume. Well, that's what volume's about.